Welcome back, y'all. And we're at my winter stash. And as you've seen in the beginning, I found a different way of doing this because trying to classify it dry, the top was fine, but as soon as I got a little bit further down, it started getting wet. So, yep, wet classification it is. Oh. And this bucket was from an area on the claim where there was a lot of flow sand, so this is mostly sand and lots of little shells and all kinds of little things in there. So yeah, I'm gonna work this down. This will be the first bucket, and then I got that Rubbermaid over there, which you guys can't see, and then there's another one over in the other room over there. So I got two Rubbermaids full of material that we're gonna run down today too. And I've modified my little Dream Mat sluice, the 6 by 16, and made a power head for the front of it with a dual pump. So yeah, you guys will see that here in a minute too. As soon as I finish running this bucket down, we'll get that all set up, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, and as you can see, we got the Filtration 3000 going on here. We have double pump lines coming in. One that goes to my T8 750 gallon an hour belch pump, and then on the other side of it there we got a fish pump. Pretty nice. And yeah, up here on the front of the sluice, I built a nice little stainless steel header box, and I put a little rubber flap on it. Got that all clamped down. All right, so yeah, let me get this all set up to fire up, get the battery ready, be right with you. And the other addition on the front end of the sluice here, that is just a regular bucket with my 1/8-inch classifier on there. And don't tell the wife, I took one of her curtains and cut it up because it's like almost 1200 mesh. There's a purpose behind that. So when I'm running, all the sand that goes through here is pretty much going to collect on top of that while the water filtrates straight through. And the bucket that I'm using there actually has 2 slot lines on the side of it where my magic milling table hooks up to that bucket. So it's perfect for this. The water pours out of those 2 holes on the side, and I can use this to filtrate the sand in the water. So that way I'm not filling up my container full of sand or the bucket up full of sand. Just that, and that's easy to pull out of there and put right back in. So I can easily clean it out. All right, so yeah, let me get this set up and let's start running. It's got no problem tearing right through this material, which is good. Means I'll be classifying buckets like crazy. Seems like this end needs just the air, so we'll take this through. Much better. And as you can see, it's filtrating pretty nicely. All you have to do is change it out once that starts filling up a little bit higher. Dump it out into a bucket, put it right back in, good to go. And it is clearing out pretty nicely. All I see left behind is just a little bit of the black sand. That's nice. And this is the flow sand bucket. We got the other two from the claim. There was one or two buckets that were from down the road from the claim at a spot where I was able to get close to the bank, but that just mixed in there. All right, I'll be right back. And to clean this out, it's just as easy as this. Done. So I'm currently at this moment classifying down this little square bucket to fill this bucket back up so we can run again. So it's going to take me a minute to fill up these little square buckets with that little round classifier, going through this tub, and then after that one's done, I got to do this one. I told you, it's my winter stash. We got to get this done. All right, now this is crazy as hell. All right, this is a 1 in a million chance of a lifetime kind of thing. All right, this rock I found a few weeks ago out on one of my trips, on my last trip out. This one I just found doing my cleanup just now. And this is the crazier part. There's no way. It's this other half of the same rock. That is crazy. What? All right. So, as you can see, still working on the second container. I'm about halfway through. And doing it like this makes it really easy to do cleanouts. With the silk screen, it's like 12 million mesh. Good amount of black sands in there.
Them and they will come.
And what's that?
Provoke them and they will come.
I told them. Yeah, I got it. And yeah, that's how much we have in the bucket. And I'll be right back. Here's a little bit of a tip for you guys. If you got a lot of like clay in your sand like I do from my areas, dilution is the solution. So take a few scoops of water from out of your bin, throw it into your bucket, and start slurrying the surface around like that to get it all nice and mixed up. And keep doing that the way down. It'll keep your clay from balling up. Then you don't have to worry about when you throw it on there, you'll get that clay ball that'll roll on down. Just mix it on up in here. You're already in the bucket. If the gold falls to the bottom of the bucket, falls to the bottom of the bucket. Then you just rinse it out. But that's a tip for you. Like I said earlier, so this year I want to do a high banking competition. And yeah, time's, getting short, and the things that I found out that, my dad has to go through all kinds of chemo treatment and all kinds of different stuff like that this year. And with that going on, he won't be able to work as much, and yeah, we won't be able to make no more cabin videos. I ain't gonna get into all that, but yeah, time's getting short, so I want to do some cool things. And one of the things I want to do is do the first Ohio high banking competition ever. And I want to provoke these guys to come out and actually do this, because without your guys' help and without provoking them, they won't actually show up. I could say it all I wanted and they just laugh and be like, yeah, I ain't showing up. But I'm going to call out Chris Bogus, Pioneer Polly, and Flower Gold Wizard. Because out of all the people that I could invite, them probably be the only 3 people that maybe possibly out of a 1 in a million chance ever show up. So with your guys' help, let's get this video out there. Share it to them a bunch of times if you have to. I'll make more videos calling them out. But let's get them out here before summertime. Let's get them out here around maybe May, June, if that's good with them. And let's do a high banking competition. What do you say? And another note is these guys are some of his idols, and he watches them on his phone during lunch break and, you know, at night and stuff like that. He mostly watches Dan Hurd, Pioneer Polly, and once in a while Chris Bogus and Flower Gold Wizard. So yeah, hey Polly, if you can get that Dan Hurd to come too, bring him. So I'm calling out Dan Hurd, Pioneer Polly, Chris Bogus, and Flower Gold Wizard. It's a friendly competition, so don't get mad. Get glad. And it'll be good for the community, good for everybody. You know, show that you guys actually care. All right, so let's get back to it. Plus, you know, we all do the same thing all the time. Don't you guys want to do something outside of the box? Come on. Finally finished running that bucket and 2 Rubbermaids. And man, this thing's just packed with black sand. And just to show you how good that filter system works over top of a classifier on top of a bucket with holes in it. And I did not have to change the water out of this once. I was able to keep continuously running out of it, even though there was a lot of soot and material. All I did was just dumped it off into the bucket over here, took it outside, dumped it every time I needed to, and that made things a lot easier. Instead of letting an entire bucket fill up in there with water in it and everything. Yeah, that's a pain. And then having to clean this all out and refill it back up with water. So yeah, it saved a lot of time. I like doing that. That was not too bad. So let me get all of this cleaned up. Get some fresh, clean water in there, because we're going to have to for the panning part at least. But if you're out in the field, you'd be able to use that water for panning that down. But since I have access to clean water, I'm going to go ahead and clean it out. That was just to see if I could do this with just minimum amount of water. And yes, I can. So, yep, be right back. And that's what we ended up with after all of that. So let's get it into the pan there and pan it on down. And there's a lot of black sand in that. This is going to be fun. And just before I pan it back, look how much black sand there is. That's a heavy pan. All right. All right, so what did we get for 2 Rubbermaids and a bucket of just random spots? A tiny little bit of some chunky. Not too bad. And yeah, that's all we got on this trip. Go ahead and do a little bit of a zoom in and see if we can get it to focus in. Decent little gold. All right, that's all I got time for on this episode. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And share this video. Make sure that it gets out there. Let's see if these guys will be up for the challenge.